So, take it away.
So, our presentation's on the shift of global power and the rise and fall of Islamic empires. So, when Rome fell, it left a power vacuum, and Constantinople remained, but it would be at war with the new emerging Muslim powers. The Persian Empire was weak, and it would be incorporated into the Arab and Muslim empires. So, a man named Muhammad formed a religion in the 1600s, and that religion unified all of the Arab tribes into one nation, and first under the Umayyads and then the Abbasids. So, the Umayyad Empire went from 661 to 750, and it was two of the four major caliphates after Muhammad, and a caliphate is a form of government led by a spiritual leader. So, the Muslims thought that taxation and administrative practice were bad, and the Christian and Jewish people had autonomy, which is the right to self-govern, and they had to deal in accordance with their own laws and their own religious heads, and they did pay a tax for policing the central state. So the Abbasid Empire went from 750 to 1258, and this was the third caliphate after Muhammad. So there was first government was in Kufa, but in 762 there was a caliph named Al-Mansur, and he founded the city of Baghdad, which is north of the Sasanian capital city. And so north of the capital, the choice of the capital was close to Persia, so that showed that there were alliance with the Persian government officials, so they had to work together to govern territories and increase the inclusion of non-Arab Muslims.
Okay, so there were wealthy trade routes across all of Asia, and Baghdad became the new capital of the Islamic war in 750, and in the House of Wisdom and Intellectual Center of Baghdad had Muslim scholars that made breakthroughs in medicine, science, philosophy, and mathematics. And Baghdad had a population of 7 million people. It's the second largest city in Iran, second largest city in the Arab world, and second largest in Southwest Asia. Al-Biruni was one of the greatest scholars in the medieval Islamic era and was very good in physics, math, astronomy, natural science. He made incredible discoveries in math, algebra, astronomy, and geometry. And in the Islamic Empire established across Persia, Middle East, Central Asia, North America, and parts of India from the 8th century, onward made significant contributions towards math.
The Hindu numeral system, or the Hindu-Arabic numeral system, is a positional decimal numeral system. It is the most common system for the symbolic representation of numbers in the world. It was invented between the 1st and 4th centuries by Indian mathematicians, and this picture just represents the growth over time of the Hindu-Arabic numerals. The Hebrew language was rediscovered by Jews, and the Christian and Muslim scholars were located in Spain, and Greek philosophy was translated and preserved. The musician from Baghdad, which was the Blackbird, relocated to Spain, which opened the first music school in Europe in Cordoba in the 800s. It was also the founder of the Andalusia music, and you can also hear how it influenced Spanish music. And this picture is a photograph of the music school in the 800s. The Mongols burned Baghdad to the ground and conquered much of the Middle East during the 1200s. The ideas and achievements of the Abbasids lived on, but Islamic power declined overall. And this picture represents the Mongols conquering Baghdad in the 1200s.
The Muslims are split into two main branches, the Sunnis and the Shiites. The differences lie in ritual law, theology, and religious organization. The majority of them are Sunnis, and the Abbasids killed almost the entire ruling of the Umayyads and left their Shiite supporters trending towards an absolute monarchy. By the 10th century, they had pretty much lost all of their power, and by the 10th century, they had fallen. The Ottomans, as the sick man in Europe with British control through funding and diplomacy. Allies promised the Arab independence, but instead they take over, which caused many of the issues in the Middle East. And the achievements of Abbasid completed the famous Baghdad Gate in the 8th century, and the Al-Qahardi Fortress. This received the United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization World Heritage status in July 7, 2000.